America. So how many of you tonight brought radios? This city has so many sports icons, men and women whose names will be known for the ages, but none have touched as many lives as Mr. Vincent Edward Scully. Tonight we are here to celebrate a man who has quite literally been the heart of this city, the spirit and the soul of the Dodgers organization, and in the City of Angels, the truest angel we know. A man who is loved by millions of people around the world who love our boys in blue. I remember as a young man being here in the ravine with my father, and I asked my dad, why are so many people listening to the radio while they're here at the game? They can see it. He had a two-word answer, Vin Scully. Because for so many of us, Vin, you are baseball, and you are the Dodgers. You've introduced us to our heroes. You've taught us the game, and you voiced some of the most exciting moments in our lives. It isn't just what you say, Vin. There have been moments when you have paused. When the Mets, in the Game 6 of 1986 won, you didn't speak for 3 minutes on the air. And when Kirk Gibson hit that home run in 1988, for a minute, you did not speak on television so we could feel that moment. In times good and bad, for 70 years, the people have been blessed by what you bring to this game that we love. And finally, you live your life with such humility and such grace, an example for all of us. You mean so many things to so many people, but to all of us, you are the soundtrack for LA during the summer, and if we're lucky, deep, and I mean deep, into the fall. Earlier this year, I was so proud that we joined together and we renamed the street entering the stadium Vin Scully Avenue. Because we want everyone who comes here to see this historic place, to see your name forever. But tonight, I wanted to give you, Vin, something special you can take home with you. Since I've been mayor, I haven't done this to anybody, and it's rarely done in this city's history. But we've been honored to have you as our voice. You've opened the door for millions to find and to hold on to their love of baseball. So tonight it is my honor to somebody who's brought down the house to present the key to the city of Los Angeles.
His first 6 years with the Dodgers, our next speaker had to recreate the games in the studio by listening to Vin and Jerry Doggett on the radio. Friends and colleagues now for the past 58 years, Jaime Harim.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Buenas noches, damas y caballeros. I have been so fortunate to know Vin Scully and call him my friend. When I look back over the years I have known him, one thing stands out: gratitude. Yes, gratitude. I am so thankful to have had this wonderful gentleman as my friend and colleague, mentor, and role model. When I first met Vin almost 60 years ago, I was so young, I knew very little about baseball. My English was not very good, still is, but I had dreams about making it as a broadcaster. Those dreams came true, and I have been to thank for so much of it. It was as if a younger painter was able to work alongside Rembrandt, a young composer alongside Beethoven. He was my baseball guide. I learned the game by listening to him in the years when Recreated was broadcast in Spanish. He taught me the importance of preparation. When we traveled together, we grew to be friends. We shared triumphs and tragedies in our lives. I cherish those years and those memories. I will be seeing my dearest friend at the ballpark every night. But I pray his retirement is as blessed as I have been to have him as my friend, guide all these years. Vin, vaya con Dios.
Thank you, Jaime. Our next speaker merely presides over the game that we all love, our national pastime. The 10th Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred.
It's a pleasure to be here in Los Angeles and an honor for me to participate in this great event. Baseball is a generational game, and for many generations, Vin Scully has been the voice of our game. He's delivered to our fans some of the greatest moments in baseball history. The Dodgers' victory in Game 7 of the 1955 World Series, Don Larson's perfect game in 1956, Henry Aaron's 715th home run in 1974, and Kirk Gibson's home run in 1988. Vin's voice is so closely associated with these great moments that he has become a national treasure with an honored place in baseball's history. In 2014, Commissioner Seelig gave the Commissioner's Historic Achievement Award to Vin Scully. I can't think of a more deserving recipient. Only two non-players, Rachel Robinson and Vin Scully, have ever been awarded this honor. It's fitting, therefore, that baseball would like to present a check for $50,000 as a donation to the Jackie Robinson Foundation in Vin Scully's name.
Over the past month, we have been counting down the top 20 Vin Scully Dodger calls as voted by you, the fans. Tonight, it's time to reveal the top 2. Let's take a look. The call that you ranked at number 2 took place at Dodger Stadium on September 9, 1965. Just over 29,000 fans were on hand on a Thursday night to watch Sandy Koufax and the Dodgers take on a Chicago Cubs team that featured 3 future Hall of Famers. Sandy entered the game with 21 wins on the season. His 22nd would be the most memorable of his career.
2-2 to Harvey Keene. 1 strike away.
number 1 here at Dodger Stadium on October 15, 1988. Not only did Vin call it, he inspired it to happen.
To be part of what many consider to be one of the greatest sports moment of all time will always be special, and the fact that it's your voice bringing it all to life makes it even more memorable. I just remember in the bottom of the 8th inning as they're panning out, going to commercial, and Ben looking into the dugout and saying, "It doesn't appear Kirk Gibson will play tonight," which I stood up and said, "My," and told Mitch the bat boy, "Go set the tee up." And we got into a pretty special moment after that.
And look who's coming up. All year long, they look to him to light the fire. And all year long, he answered the demand.
For that bat alone, sayings like, "It's a roll of the dice." Gibson shaking his left leg, making it quiver like a horse shaking off a fly.
Little number. To run that far.
Not a bad opening nap.
So the Dodgers trying to catch lightning right now. 4 days, 2 out, 9th inning. Not a bad opening act.
And finally, Kirk Gibson's not the MVP this year. The MVP was Tinkerbell. But tonight, Tinkerbell backed off for Kirk Gibson. Classic Vinny. Who else could get the Tinkerbell in there? And Vin Scully, who are both in the Hall of Fame. They became great friends of mine, and they always gave me great wisdom and advice when maybe I didn't deserve it. But great relationship before, even better after, and to this day he always stops down and sees me, and it's very special to me.
I think we've got a leading man, and many of them, between now and the end of this great 1988 World Series.
Thanks for helping inspire me to put on my uniform that night, and thanks for telling the story of our sport for so many years. It's an honor for me to have your voice attached to the soundtrack of my career. Vinny, congratulations on your Hall of Fame career. You're the best.
Personal aside for a moment. I believe that is not only Vin's greatest call, but the greatest home run call in history. The call itself consists of 19 words. The perfection of the first 7. High fly ball deep to right field. She is gone. Then, in and of itself, a spectacular call. 5 seconds of silence for all of us to drink in that moment, followed by the final 12 words. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened. 19 words that will last as long as baseball is played. Wherever you may be, it is my pleasure, my honor, to introduce you to my boss, the chairman of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Mark Walter.
Thanks, Charlie. We've all been blessed by Vin's stories. We've seen and heard him paint a picture in our minds with his words. And we've been blessed by the moments that he's created for us to share. For me, I've had a fortunate life and had many great experiences, but none better than the honor of coming to spend time with Vin Scully. For my family and my partners, it's simply the best. At Dodger Stadium, we honor our legends and our Hall of Famers on the Ring of Honor. Vin Scully has been the voice and the heart of the Dodgers for 67 years. And next year, he will take his rightful place on that Ring of Honor. Thank you, Vin, for your dedication to your craft and to the Dodgers. But this is not goodbye, because Vin, this is your house, and we expect you to come home and see us often.
Now it is my honor to introduce the left-hander, number 32, one of the greatest players ever to wear a Dodger uniform. Ladies and gentlemen, Sandy Koufax.
Many times I've been on this field, I've never been this nervous. My first year with the Dodgers was 1955. If my math is correct, I've known Vin Scully now for 60 years, or more than 60 years. Growing up in Brooklyn, the Dodgers had a red-headed announcer by the name of Red Barber. He was good. Then a few years later, another redhead showed up, and I thought he was very good. I'm not sure I realized how good he was until 1958, when the Dodgers from Brooklyn became the LA Dodgers, moved into the Coliseum. It was a very strange phenomenon to be on the field and hear the broadcast coming out of the stands. The people of Los Angeles, even though they were at the game, didn't enjoy it without listening to Vin tell them about it. He entertained and he educated. Vin's style of broadcasting was very special. In a lot of days, he called announcers homers. I think Vin appreciated the players and their talents in both dugouts. He, for all the years that I heard him, he used the Dodgers as a word, never the word we. There's a story about Vin, I don't know how many people know, that before the World Series, Vin would go to church and pray. Not for a win, but there would be only heroes in the World Series, no goats. He didn't want anybody's future to be tarnished with the fact that they lost the World Series for their team. And I think that showed his compassion for the players. But I think the thing I treasure most, he allows me to call him friend. And we're here tonight to honor my friend and yours, and it's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
How fortunate we are to have this collection of left-handers on stage with us tonight. Where Sandy is a left-hander, Vin is a left-hander, and so is number 22, Clayton Kershaw.
This is a little bit different for me up here like this, but Vin, you spent your whole career talking about us, and so on behalf of our team and the teams that have come before us, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for painting a picture for us, for our families, that we'll have for the rest of our lives. And it's something that I'll never forget. And long from now, when we retire and we don't have this game anymore, we'll always have your voice. So thank you for that.
Broadcasters great is their natural ability to connect to the fans on a one-on-one basis. Vin has been talking to and with us, the fans, for most, if not all of our lives. Tonight, a longtime ambassador of the game will speak on behalf of all of us. Please welcome Academy Award-winning actor and director, Kevin Costner.
Thank you. You know, the game is going to start soon, and that's how it should be. It's how Vin would want it. Before it does, allow me to say one more time for the record for all of us here today and those watching, that we will miss you, my friend. We will miss you in our radio, in our cars, in our backyard. You've been a gift to Los Angeles, to baseball itself. It seems forever that you've been guiding us through your personal window into the game. How lucky we were that day in Brooklyn when the microphone passed into your hands. You were the chosen one, the skinny redhead who stood on the shoulders of the biggest kid, ready to look through the knothole in the fence and describe to the rest of us what was going on. You were better than a golden ticket. You invited us all to pull up a chair, spend the afternoon, and then proceeded to walk us into the next century. You did it in a style so friendly and unique, so effortless, that years from now we will not be able to explain it to those who never heard it for themselves. The game will not lose its way, but it loses a perspective, a singular voice that managed to capture a boy's game played by men at the highest level. You grounded it in a way no one else ever has, trusting that you never had to make more of any one moment than it really was. We couldn't be Kurt, and we couldn't be Sandy, but somehow you found a way to put us all in the batter's box, put us all in the mound. Even those lucky enough to have a ticket to be at the game itself held radios to their heads as if they couldn't trust what they were seeing. Some of my strongest memories of you were being in school, in the classroom, when the World Series still was being played during the day. Who can forget the teachers that we begged and then allowed us to stop our work, huddle around a single scratchy transistor radio? They may have been simpler days, but they were also the best of days. And with everything on the line, it was your voice that slowed it down while we held our breath and filled in the blanks. And when we couldn't bear to watch, or could no longer sit in front of our TVs because the pressure was just too great, you were at your very best. When we were lost for words, you were Norman Rockwell, painting the clearest pictures, describing some of baseball's greatest moments as if they were nothing more than a familiar bedtime story. For 67 years, you managed to fool us into believing that you were just a sports announcer, when in fact you were really a poet, a wordsmith. It was a nice trick, and after almost 7 decades, you might have thought that we would have caught on. But now the masquerade is over, and the jig is up. We're all taking deep breaths, Vin. We're all struggling with our own emotions as we admit that we're down to our last 3 outs with you. Thanks for always giving it to us straight, the inning, the score. Thanks for helping us understand the drama. Instead of being above the magic, you chose to marvel at it with us. It was through you, in a game that some call too slow, that we finally began to understand its charm. The slow drift down a lazy river. Compliments are not easy to come by in baseball. They're not given lightly by the players. When they come, they're usually offered up in the simplest of words. Your name is spoken with reverence, afforded only the greatest of players. A universal respect is simply by quiet knowledge. Players would call you a gamer, a guy who never wished to start. The 9-inning pitcher who always kept you in the game, the guy who always gave you a chance to win. And if you never played the game, you might think it should be more to describe that kind of greatness. But in this game, it's all you need to know about it. And if anyone ever wondered what it might feel like to have Vin Scully call your name, I can tell you for sure that it must be something close to heaven. I wasn't a player, but for love of the game, I had that moment. You called my imaginary name in my imaginary perfect game, and no one can ever take that away. So as the game gets closer, and we know that you have to move up to the press box, don't mind us as we turn in our seats to look up one more time. Forgive us our silly wave, our closing toast, our personal salute. Should your mind begin to wander as innings start to slip away, we already forgive you. If the memories suddenly become too thick, just stop and look around. You're our George Bailey. It has been a wonderful life. This is real, man. Your life is real. You found a way. You found your way. You found your calling. You did the work. You reached the top of your profession playing fair. Never taking advantage. So we promise we won't be sad for you. How could we be?
No, this is
We're only sad for ourselves.
Yeah, I know.
Because we would all like to retire someday too. Don't blame us.
Depending on what you want to do.
Don't blame us for wanting to push the sun down that blue sky. We're asking God to give us extra dodge and rain. You can't blame us for trying to hold on to you as long as we can. And you can't stop us from saying that we love you. To live your life, man. Live your life. You see the world with your sweetheart? And shame on us if you ever have to pay for another meal in public. So let's all stand as we just say goodbye to this man.